You know, you're probably the best audience I've had yet this year for my State of the City address. Of course, you're the only audience I've had this year for my State of the City address. I know we have some City Council members in here, so if you folks would stand, I would just like you to be recognized. Lee? We have a really good City Council. As you know, and as you've seen me write in various places, we don't always agree unanimously on everything, but that's the way it should be. We should have differing opinions, and we have been able to come to conclusions that are good for the city, and I'm very grateful for this City Council we have and their cooperation and their hard work. I also want to give a shout out to our city staff. I would put them up against the city staff anywhere. We have a new city manager, of course, Mr. Gary Williams. He has come on board and really made a lot of differences for us. He's reorganized some of our areas in the city, but we have very, very good staff. I see and talk to them every day. When the council needs something, they prepare it for us, and they get it in multiple versions and lots of background data. So thank you to our city staff. And there's a table over here of staff members, police officers, and we have folks scattered around the room. But thank you very much to you. I don't think I saw any former city council members or mayors. Don Monty isn't here. It's amazing. One other announcement. Tonight there will be a special session of City Council here in City Hall for the presentation of our organizational and management review by Novak Consulting Group. This is a special working session. It starts at 6 o'clock, not 7, so it's open to the public. What I believe you will hear tonight, and I've read this report is about this thick. It's a comprehensive review of everything the city does, all of our procedures and so on. They've done some good recommendations for us, but the overall sense of it is that we're doing a lot with limited resources. So it'll be worthwhile sitting in. It shouldn't last more than an hour or so this evening. Well, your city council has a lot going on now through May 1st. It's budget time. So our city's budget is our first priority. We are currently in fiscal year 2017, which will end April 30th of this year, of 2017. The budget for fiscal year 18 will begin May 1st of 2017. So we just have about 4 months or a little bit less to get a budget in place. The process this year is at best difficult due to the uncertainties of funding coming from the state of Illinois. There is, once again, the very real possibility that the state will demand higher contributions to the state's pension system, while at the same time reducing their traditional payments to us. In meeting with our newly elected state senators and representatives, as well as those who have been reelected, and I've done this in the past 2 or 3 weeks, and the manager and I have met with them, we're hearing that we may not have a state budget till after the next election, till after 2018. The reason being the governor will run then. Something that, talking about funding and everything, one of the things we did at our last city council meeting was we abated millions of dollars in property taxes that were put in place to pay debt service and pension costs. And rather than collect these as property taxes, we now pay these obligations through our general fund. General fund revenues come from the local government distributive fund, which is a share of the income taxes that you and I pay into the state of Illinois. Every city gets a little bit of that back. We have local sales taxes, taxes from other sources such as taxes on prepared food and beverage, packaged liquor, entertainment, gaming, hotel stays, and so on. And incidentally, just so you know, the city's tax rate, the money that goes to the city, on your real estate taxes on a $150,000 home is right at $130 a year. As I've said before, Carbondale can and should be the cultural center of Southern Illinois. Carbondale Tourism Bureau, Carbondale Community Arts, the Park District, Carbondale Music Coalition, Varsity Center for the Arts, and Carbondale Main Street are just a few of our community organizations that are working toward this goal. We should initiate and support activities in Carbondale, like concerts, art shows, festivals, and other community events. These venues need to be publicized regionally to draw in not just our local folks, but those from outside the city also. We should promote the SIU campus as a major cultural and activities hub of Carbondale. Plays, concerts, speakers, sports, and so on. The SIU administration is bringing more events back to campus. And since I've mentioned the administration, I forgot to mention the Chancellor Caldwell and Matt Baumann are here today in attendance. This past weekend, SIU hosted an event at Shryock Auditorium that featured local musicians and benefited the Park District. The week prior, Terry and I attended a Simply Sinatra Christmas at Shryock Auditorium that featured a very good Sinatra tribute singer from Las Vegas, accompanied by the SIU Symphony Orchestra and the SIU Jazz Ensemble. The performance was right up there with what you'd find at Fox Theater in St. Louis. It was outstanding for $25 a ticket right here in our own backyard. So I want to say once more, we're committed to bringing more events and entertainment to the campus and to our city. To that end, we have created a special events commission through the Carbondale Tourism Bureau that will initially work to promote and enhance the Big Muddy Film Festival and to develop a Taste of Carbondale Festival. They will also work to bring or assist in bringing high-quality music and entertainment to the city of Carbondale. These kinds of events attract visitors from all over Southern Illinois and benefit our businesses as well as our students. Most importantly, they can improve the quality of life for all of our citizens. This year, the City Council officially accepted the completed Downtown Revitalization Plan from the Downtown Advisory Committee. Nearly 18 months went into this effort. Many of the committee members are in this room today. This project is good for both Carbondale and for SIU. Ideally, it will encourage more of our citizens and students, as well as people from out of town, to think Carbondale for entertainment, dining, and shopping. The Streetscape design consultants have given Council their preliminary conceptual drawings, as well as an analysis of what is achievable and workable for our particular situation. We will have their final report in early 2017. Ameren and communications providers are working with the consultants and have nearly completed their plans for relocation of the utility lines along Illinois Avenue to areas behind the buildings. Construction on that should also start this spring. Now, this project won't be complete in time for SIU move-in weekend or for that little event called the Eclipse that's coming next year. But we should be finished with sidewalks, curb bump outs, street crossing, markings, and we will have our streets open to traffic. I have some highlights from this past year. We have a new economic development director, Mr. Steve Mitchell, who is meeting with potential developers and our local business owners. He's doing a great job for us. Steve, could you stand up real quick? There he is. Steve Mitchell. That particular position was elevated to a director position, like we have a director of public works, so it is at a higher staff level now than it was before. It was just assistant to the city manager. So Steve's doing a great job for us, and I've met with him several times, and he's hit the ground running. We also created a public relations officer position and employed Ms. Amy Fox. She produced the visuals for today's presentation and has our Facebook page up and running at Explore Carbondale. Amy is back there manning the camera in the back of the room, but let's give an applause for Amy. This past year, we also created a curb appeal housing incentives to encourage owners to reinvest in their homes. We just entered into our third agreement. Food trucks and sidewalk cafes are now permitted uses in the city. The sidewalk cafes is something we've been wanting to do for many, many years. Couldn't do it because, golly gee, we couldn't have a glass of wine or beer outside the building on the sidewalks. And it's going to work fine. It's working fine already for our restaurants that are doing this with no issues whatsoever. Private developers have demolished the Jeffrey Laundromat building and will replace it with a new medical office building. When the city received no responses to our request for proposals to demolish the Horizon Inn and start development on that property, we decided to use our local improvement funds to get the job done. Long past due, should have been done a long time ago. Having the building gone has already piqued the interest of local and regional investors in the property. And I think we will see something go there within the next 12 to 18 months. Casey's General Store has demolished what was the old BP station on East Main Street. And we're building a new signature store there. IHOP demolished an aging hotel on East Main Street, which, by the way, had one of our highest calls for service for our police department in order to build their new restaurant. So we got a double effect there. So there's a pattern here. I've used the word demolish 4 times. We are getting rid of old buildings that have reached the end of their utility and replacing them with brand new ones. I kind of like that word utility. I came up with that about 10 o'clock last night. Instead of end of their life, end of utility. So I got to thinking, as a gray-haired person, I should be careful I don't reach the end of my utility. Bombay Olive opened a new building in downtown Carbondale where the American Tap once stood. Fujiyama moved to a new building that they constructed on Giant City Road. We've also completed a comprehensive bike plan that extends throughout the community. SIU tells us that there are a record number of bicycles on campus and a growing number of our citizens are bicyclists. This past year we completed 3 new bike paths. One along Route 13 East in front of the University Mall, the other just west of Murdale Shopping Center, along Route 13 connecting to Old Route 13. The third one, the downtown bike path from Mill Street to Main Street, was also completed. Now that's the one that runs on the east side of the railroad tracks. Phase 2 of that path will connect Mill Street to the SIU campus, so eventually all the way to the pedestrian overpass out on campus. They'll connect all the way from there to our downtown by bicycle, to all the way into Carbondale. So, as a direct result of these efforts, Carbondale was just named a bike-friendly city. We also began studying Mill Street traffic patterns in order to reconstruct that street. We have concerns about pedestrian crossings, and we want to improve those issues as well as resurface that street and get bike lanes striped on it. Coming in 2017, we'll see the completion of the new Hilton Hotel in our downtown. We'll see the completion of a new assisted living center, the landings at Reed Station Crossing with 90 some apartments. The side tracks property will be purchased by the city, then demolished to make way for the extension of the city parking lot to College Street. That will complete parking lots all the way from Mill Street to Walnut Street. You can make one continuous drive behind all of our business between them and the railroad tracks and get down that direction. We've also started, or are going to start, the quadruple M, morning meeting with the mayor and manager. The mayor, city manager, and occasionally a council person will participate in this event, which will rotate through various venues in the city. This is modeled after the very successful Coffee with a Cop. We also implemented new financial software that significantly improved our accounting system and will also provide the public with extensive online options for financial transactions and other interactions with the city. With the installation of board docs, your city council now has a paperless agenda for our meetings. We probably eliminated 50 sheets of paper per council person per meeting. Not to mention a very intuitive interface in order to, and it's taken me a while to get used to watching on a computer to tell where I am in the meeting, but it's beginning to gel. Our police officers are among the most visible of city employees and have the most interaction with our citizens. So I want to spend a little time talking about the department. In 2015, the city and its police officers worked hard, and we found ourselves with the lowest crime rate in Carbondale in over 20 years. 2016, we saw a very unfortunate spike in shootings with a total of 18 to date. 2 of these shootings resulted in homicides, including the tragic death of Mr. Tim Beatty. A 3rd homicide occurred in August when a burned body was found on East Main Street. As sad as these incidents are, our police department has made arrests or issued warrants for the arrest of the individuals responsible in most of these incidents, and certainly in these 2 that I named individually. On July 31st this year, Carbondale Police Officer Trey Harris and Officer Corey Brinkley were on patrol in the northeast part of town when they heard and responded to gunshots being fired at members of our community. They immediately located a vehicle fleeing the area and gave chase. They pursued the suspect vehicle until shots fired from the fleeing vehicle struck Officer Harris. He sustained serious, permanent injuries as a result of being shot. If not for the efforts of Officer Brinkley, who was driving the vehicle, there could have been a much more tragic outcome to this incident. The investigation to this matter is still ongoing, and we remain committed to bringing those responsible to justice. I ask you to join me in commending Officer Harris and Officer Brinkley for the bravery and professionalism they displayed. They are truly heroes. Community policing and neighborhood-based patrols remain one of the top priorities for our police department. Community policing outreach programs continue to reestablish bonds with the citizens they serve. Citizen concerns are addressed in a manner which works to enhance the partnership between the community and our police officers. Some of the highlights include placing a higher emphasis on foot patrols, the establishment of a chronic nuisance ordinance, the expansion of a positive presence on social media, new and reestablished programs such as the Citizens Police Academy, Coffee with a Cop, and Personal Safety for Women. The police department's community Christmas store will also provide gifts to over 100 children in our community who couldn't otherwise have as merry of a Christmas. The police department is once again partnering with SIU Athletics on a Coats for Kids program, which will provide over 150 children with new winter coats. Our police department continues to work with downtown businesses and city staff as part of the Downtown Revitalization Project. The recent installation of the first phase of security cameras in the downtown is one of the examples of their efforts in this signature city project. And I don't know if you caught it in the papers, but we did. The cameras have been up just 2 or 3 days, and right in front of Old Town we caught an assault on the cameras, and knowing, and now somebody's not sitting there watching these cameras all the time, but when we know something has occurred, we go back to that time incident and positively identify the person that committed the assault, and we got him. So, finally, it's important to me that you know our police officers are some of the most highly trained, well-educated, dedicated officers to be found anywhere. That's no exaggeration. That's not just me talking. I talked to a gentleman who is working for the FBI in Springfield, and he agrees. I talked to the Governor Rauner's head of public safety. He agrees. Those two say that this police department is one of the best in the state. You may not realize this, but Carbondale is a university community. As SIU grows and prospers, so will we. And the reverse of that is true. As we grow and prosper, SIU will also. Myself, Randy Dunn, President of the SIU System, and Chancellor Caldwell of SIU are committed to a new spirit of cooperation between the city and SIU. Once again this year, the mayor and the chancellor, along with our wives, city staff, SIU staff, and students rode together in the Lights Fantastic Parade. This time, we rode in the university's 40-passenger tram. And last year, my son Sean and I decorated a Mustang convertible on the day of the parade, or day before the parade, to do this. This year, SIU's automotive class wired and decorated the tram, and it was great. So, and it was really a lot of fun to get to engage with these students, and our Saluki ambassadors were there also. Excellent, fine young people. You would not find any better folks than what we talked to. And oddly enough, one of them lived in Champaign and came to SIU because SIU's program that she wanted was better than Champaign's, in her mind at least. So you find out some interesting things when you talk to our students. I have a few items regarding SIU I'd like to share with you. The university's For the Community website at www.forthecommunity.siu.edu is a one-stop connection to all of the educational, recreational, and entertainment opportunities that are open to the public, as well as the special programs, exhibits, facilities, and services available for public use. Many of us don't realize that now you can walk into Morris Library, don't have to be affiliated with the university, and go anywhere in that great, fantastic library and look up things you need to look up. And there's a lot of local history there. If you're wanting to look up anything local, it's available in that library. So I think you saw my Facebook page this past summer. I posted a view out of the top floor of the library, or in fall, and it's a marvelous facility since it's been redone, and I hadn't been in it since I hadn't been in it since it was redone. So it's worth the trip just to go out, take a walk on campus, and go into that library. And you can they have a, it's a Starbucks? Just a regular coffee. Yeah, inside there. So the university is also making significant efforts to save and improve the campus lake because of the existence of a blue-green algae over the last several years. What they're doing is they've lowered the lake, basically dredging the muck out, hauling it away so that near the shorelines it'll be deeper, and our experts at SIU say that this will cure our blue algae problem. We will be able to go back to recreation on the lake again. This effort also attracted the attention of alumnus, Mr. Ralph Becker, who is donating $1 million to build a new boathouse on Campus Lake. It will be a state-of-the-art facility with classroom space and outdoor patio for events, and of course it'll be a boathouse to promote recreation on the lake. The tower dormitories are currently seen as one of the most challenging aspects for recruitment. The Board of Trustees this week and the university community are all in agreement that it's past time to build new state-of-the-art housing facilities for students on the East Campus. The towers will be replaced with modern buildings that will help attract and retain our students. The highly valued working relationship and partnership between city and campus officials has led to the new city entrance sign on the east side of the city and to the recent installation of university and city banners on light poles throughout the city, and that just happened this week. This is a clear indication that the future of the city and the university are indeed linked. The university recently earned a spot in Princeton's Review Guide to 361 Green Colleges, 2016 edition. SIU has received this recognition in 5 of the last 6 years. To complement the city's recognition as being a bicycle-friendly city, SIU also has earned recognition as a bicycle-friendly university from the League of American Bicyclists. The robotics team swept the Association of Technology Management and Applied Engineering National Robotics Competition November 2nd in Orlando, Florida, winning nearly half of all the possible points. This is an amazing thing when you think of all these high-end, what we think of as high-end engineering schools out there, and we're at the top of it. That's really something. The SIU Flying Salukis captured their 6th straight National Intercollegiate Flying Association Regional Championship. The title qualifies the Flying Salukis for national competition for the 47th time in 48 years. Again, another stellar achievement. River Region Evening Edition, the live student television newscast that airs on WSIU, earned 3 Illinois Broadcasters Association Silver Dome Awards. Carbondale is a great place to grow up in, to go to school, raise a family, and retire. I know because I've done it, everything except the retirement. We have a lot of good things going on and more to come. I would ask each of you to be positive about our city. Get involved, volunteer, vote. Get to know your neighbors and the cat lady at the end of the street. Be kind to one another. A simple nod of the head and a smile go a long way. I pick up mail at the Eastern Post Office every day, and there are people that I have nodded and smiled at for years that I never knew for a long time, but we knew each other on site. I started introducing myself to them, and now I have some new friends and some nice relationships. But it all started with that just good morning. And it doesn't matter if they say it back to you or not. Just say it. It feels good. We are a diverse community, and that diversity, in my mind, is perhaps our greatest resource. And since I'm being hosted by our Carbondale Chamber of Commerce here, shop local and shop often. Our local businesses are very strong supporters of our community, charities, and our children. To paraphrase what I have said many times before, together we are making Carbondale the city that you and I, our children, and our grandchildren will be proud to call home. The holiday season is upon us. Many of us may be so caught up in shopping and socializing and travel that we may forget to take some time for our families and ourselves. This is a time of renewal, a time to reflect on the events of the past year, to make amends if needed, to consider positive change, and to set goals for next year. Be safe, be thankful, be kind to others. May peace be with you.